We discussed all this with the #2 Republican in the House, GOP Whip Congressman Steve Scalise of Louisiana, fresh off his own trip to the southern border, and we caught up with him just a couple hours ago. So you had a strong message for President Biden. We want to take a quick listen to that.
These kids are pawns in his dangerous game. It's got to stop. It was created when President Biden got rid of things like the Remain in Mexico policy. He could put that back in place tomorrow and stop this surge of illegals coming over.
So, sir, we've seen a lot of people go down to the border. We've seen a lot of messages. We're watching, obviously, the cartels make a killing off this. Talk a little bit more about what needs to be done.
Yeah, the situation is overwhelming, and it's out of control at our border. And it was all created when President Biden did some basic things. The first thing he did was halt construction of the wall. So right now we're paying contractors not to build wall. They literally were told to abandon the work site, which has created its own problems. But the biggest change that's having an immediate impact was when President Biden got rid of the Remain in Mexico policy. That was a plan that President Trump negotiated with the president of Mexico to get Mexico to hold people that come across or try to come across illegally seeking asylum. So instead of coming into the United States, where they're given basically a free pass into America and we never see them again, they were staying in Mexico and seeking asylum. Most of them, over 90% of the cases, were thrown out. So they never even made it into the United States illegally. But here you've got a case where by throwing that out the window, it has sent a message around the world, not just South and Central America, that our border is open and the drug cartels have been the biggest beneficiaries. They're literally controlling America's southern border. They're making millions of dollars a day off of this trade, the human trafficking, the sexual assault that goes along with it. It's disgusting to see what they're doing to these young kids at the border, and then they're being held in facilities in America, the Donna detention facility, where literally they have cells where they're supposed to hold 33 kids, and they've got over 400 kids in each of these. And I thought it was President Biden criticizing the previous administration for things like cages. What they have is much worse. It's inhumane in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah, it certainly is. We've been watching all this now for a couple of weeks, and there hasn't been much to change anything, is what's been surprising. The administration actually announced today, though, that they've gotten Mexico, Guatemala, and Honduras to put troops on their border, which is, if you remember, exactly what President Trump did with Mexico to get troops to stop the flows. And I just wondered, I mean, how priceless is it to watch the Biden team slowly figure this out and realize they're going to have to embrace some of these Trump ideas?
Yeah, it's not complicated what needs to be done to stop this surge at our border. In fact, every Border Patrol agent we talked to, and we talked to scores of them, all said the same thing. And clearly getting the Northern Triangle countries involved again is critical, but the Remain in Mexico policy has to be reestablished. That was something President Biden got rid of at the very beginning of his administration. He can restore that. It was working. President Trump negotiated it. I don't care if you call it Biden's Remain in Mexico policy, but it worked, and now the message has to be sent across the country, across the world, that our border's not open. Biden created this problem. He can fix it.
Sure. The administration also considering cash payments to these countries. I saw you had a reaction to this as well. What exactly are they trying to do here? It made a lot of people angry, the idea of it.
Yeah, it's bizarre that they would create a crisis at America's border, encouraging countries to send their young people to America illegally. And then when they get overwhelmed because they botched this so bad, the Biden administration now wants to pay the countries off. How about you just stop sending out the signal that America's southern border is open? Look, you got New York giving $15,000 checks to people here illegally. Americans who pay taxes aren't getting that kind of money. The lunacy has to end. Let's get back to common sense. The things that worked that President Trump did, again, Biden doesn't have to like Trump, but Trump's policies were working. Just put those policies back in place. The bribes to other countries to reward them for sending thousands of people a day to our country illegally is not the answer.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. What do you make of the new pick to lead Customs and Border Protection? This guy, Chris Magnus, he is a BLM supporter from what we've seen. It appears to be pretty far to the left as well.
Yeah, I'd love to hear his take on how he would stop this surge at the border. You talk to the Border Patrol agents, again, they're overwhelmed. They don't want to be, in essence, babysitters. They came into this job because they want to stop the flow of illegal drugs from the cartels from Mexico into the United States. And over 40% of our border agents today are being diverted away from their main job because they have to take care of these kids that are coming in at such overwhelming numbers. Again, the Donovan detention facility alone was set up for maybe 100 people. There's over 4,000 there. Think about it. You can't go to your favorite restaurant in many states at 25% capacity. The federal government will shut them down. And yet here you have at the border in America, facilities that are over 1,000% capacity and super spreader events where 10% a minimum of these people coming over have COVID, and they're putting them on top of each other, not 6 feet apart, 6 inches apart. We saw this young girl crying, and we asked her why she was crying. She said, I don't want to be here. Joe Biden needs to go see that. Kamala Harris needs to go see that. They are ignoring this crisis, hoping it'll just go, the media will go away. They don't want the problem to go away. They created it, and they won't stop it. They ought to go see what they created. It's a disgrace what they're doing to these young kids. It's inhumane. Frankly, if you look at Texas's own law on child abuse and child neglect, they're violating, Biden's folks are violating the law on child abuse and neglect and the way they're treating these kids.
It's unbelievable to see. Yeah. No, it is something to see, the way this is all happening.
And they won't let the media in.
The last few weeks
what we saw, they won't even let the media come see.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, they don't. Of course, they don't want them to see it, and the media just plays along, which is just unbelievable. You also got to take a look at the border yourself. You went to see the wall. You went for a ride along there. Let's take a quick look at that.
So we're about to go over the levee that has a big section of the wall on it.
Oh, okay.
If you look to the left here, there's a massive gap. That's where part of the wall construction stopped. There are gaps like that all up and down this stretch here. So it's effectively worthless because there are gigantic holes in the fence.
So you've got, this look here. You talked about earlier how we're paying contractors to not build wall right now.
Yeah.
Mayorkas indicated last week, and it was just hysterical, that maybe they're going to fix some of the holes in the wall. What do you actually think happens with this?
Well, again, think think about the taxpayer getting fleeced here. Taxpayers are paying money to the contractors who have a contract to build the wall, but Biden literally told them to abandon the work site. They didn't even clean up the work site. So just the other day, there was a Border Patrol agent who was chasing an illegal across a section of open wall that was being constructed that's now, again, an abandoned work site. And it was at night, so he didn't see a big hole that they had dug and didn't cover up. And he went across it, hit, and severely injured himself. They said they're not even sure if he's going to be able to come back on the job. This just happened the other day.
Right.
So again, they have no regard for the lives of our Border Patrol agents, let alone these kids that are coming over and the treatment they're getting, the sexual abuse that's occurring on the 40-plus day journey for many of them. This is a national disgrace what President Biden created. He broke it. He could fix it today with the stroke of a pen. And I'm calling on President Biden and Kamala Harris to come see it for themselves, first of all, but then to stop this. They can stop this today. We don't need an act of Congress. Yeah. We appropriated the money to build the wall. Just start building it again.
It makes no sense whatsoever. Congressman Steve Scalise, sir, thank you so much for the time. Good to see you as always.
Great being with you. Thanks.